Okay, so happy to have you here today for a conversation, Amar and Praveen. Amar is the global head of marketing for Williams Lee and RRD, highly creative and mad, and has been a strategic advisor to us at many times. Pradeep, founder and chief decision maker. Pradeep, anybody who has to announce that they are chief decision maker is not being allowed to make too many decisions. Okay.
No, trust me, in his case,
He's doing it.
decision making is very linear and it's a one-step process. They are
Oh, nay.
it's binary, completely binary.
So Praveen heads Wild Creek Web Studio, and we decided that while we are discussing AI, this new kid in town who's scaring the hell out of everybody, you two were the best people to either calm us or leave us more scared and worried, right? Whichever way this conversation goes. So that's
It's
what
a
we
it's a weekend, so it won't be a calm weekend, that's for
don't
sure.
want to mess anybody, right? So to start the conversation, this whole thing started when we said AI is scaring us. It is getting some people completely in awe and some people filled with curiosity, right? So, Praveen, I'm going to start with you. What is the experience that you've had when you're introducing AI to people and helping them understand it better? What are you seeing as the emotion that is being evoked the most? And what should we be feeling?
I think when the AI started, most people had no idea what it's going to be, and most people did not know what it can do. So everybody thought it's just going to be another tool that's going to make their lives easier. Just like we've seen in so many memes and videos, everybody wants to become rich overnight, and everybody thought AI is going to kind of just make their business boom and scale and all of it. But when it came to reality and knowing that they have to put the hard work in, they have to feed the AI with data and all of it, people took a step back simply because they never had anything to share. They wanted AI to magically come up with things. And that probably made a lot of people scared, because one is the reality was stark reality was in their face. AI is asking them questions and they don't have answers for once. People were a little bit cautious, and then they kind of opened up, and then they wanted things for free and they wanted to get things done immediately. But reality is not that case. And when they realize that AI can actually take their jobs away, probably if they don't understand it, some people kind of buckled down, understood what it is, and then realized AI is not going to take their jobs away. It's just basically going to help them do things in a much faster, probably make decisions better. At this point in time, most people are still exploring. A lot of companies are still um, unsure as to where they are, because they want to get onto the AI bandwagon. So they're saying that we have done AI, we are doing this with AI and all of it. But in reality, the people are still powering a lot of stuff, and then AI is kind of slowly coming in. So it's still a wait and watch approach.
So, Amar, I know that in your organization, you formally introduced AI, right, to your senior leadership and a lot of people to reduce some of that fear. And so, how has that worked for you?
I think it's been one of the greatest and most exciting journeys we've embarked on. And I think starting that top-down approach was important because what can tend to happen otherwise is that there's a gap between what someone's talking about and what you're actually doing on the ground. So overall, the journey we started on a couple of years ago has become much more of a movement. We've been able to demystify a lot of the commonly held misconceptions about AI, number one, it being all powerful and scary and so on and so forth. So there's been a degree of AI comfort that's come in. And I think that's hugely important because as AI becomes more and more a part of the way we operate, it starts to get integrated into workflows. It starts to get it starts to move beyond personal productivity or executive productivity, and it starts to feature in the core elements of your work. I think getting people comfortable, getting people used to the idea of working with it is important, and I think that's really worked well for us. But I'll also, for a minute, just double click on what Praveen said, and that is about one of the biggest things that anyone has to understand is that it's not a silver bullet. It is not going to, you don't take AI and throw it at a problem and expect the problem to be fixed. That's not how it works. So from a business standpoint, if you think back to a couple of years, 5, 6 years ago, everyone was talking about RPA and how robotic process automation is going to change everything. And it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. The problem there was people flung it at everything and said we're going to RPA everything, but it was far from reality because RPA is a specific tool that has to be specifically configured to solve a specific problem. Similarly, if you're using AI, whether you're using a frontier model or whether it's part of some deep learning component of your core process, whatever the nature of the AI use is, it all boils down to how well it's trained, and most importantly, how well your data is structured, and the key to successful AI deployment, contextualized. So without, I think anyone who's been in advertising, anyone who's been in communications will always hear context is king in every, or emperor, or whatever it is. Nothing could be more true of AI usage. And that's one of the key components of successfully using AI as an individual. And it also connects with, that's what the entire training component is all about. So context, context, context.
I think that's a very valid point Amar said, because in the Indian context, if you look at it, most businesses are not digital. They've got their books offline, and they've not digitized any of it. And most of the times, the data is in somebody's head. And for them to download it off the head into a document and then feed it to a system, it's going to take a lifetime. And most of what they know is based on practice, based on conversations, based on experience. And that's not something that you can just download in a month, in a year's time, and then expect the AI to work miracle. It's a learning as they go.
So it's interesting you brought that example up, because on one hand, we're talking businesses, right? And one of our clients is IIT. And IIT said that one of the things they were saying is today the knowledge which a professor had is accessible, right? It's not in your head anymore, unlike some of the data which is in a business. So what's important is that institutional memory or that institutional experience to be able to use it better, right? So listening to both of you, you used words like contextualize, demystify, get over the fear, right? Improve your productivity. And this whole topic came up because we said there's a softer side to this. While there's this thing about AI is taking on jobs, it can make you look better, yada, yada. There is a relationship I need to build with AI, right? Is it the relation? And Praveen, you put a post about being the director, right? Directing it. Is it a post of is it a relationship of control? Is it a relationship of partnership? Is it a relationship of an assistant? Amar, you referred to it as assistant, right? What kind of a relationship should we be building with AI?
Most people actually don't want to get into a relationship. They want to get into that master slave mode. They think they are the master and AI is the slave, and then they just basically wanted to do everything that they could not do. But what they don't realize is it's a marriage. It's a marriage of, I wouldn't say two equals.
I'm going to have to connect with your wife the next time I see her.
So maybe, yeah. So
Good words. Brave words.
She's not here, so that's why. So it's a marriage of like not two equals. One of them has got infinite data and resources at their disposal, while the person who's trying to control it has got a limited knowledge, I would probably say, when you compare it to the AI platform that they are using. So when it goes there, they basically believe whatever the AI is telling them to be true, but then they don't understand that it's basically telling them what they want to hear. It's just like your teen romance. When a couple goes and both of them would talk all lovey-dovey, and then they wouldn't get into an argument and all of it, and then once they get married and all of it, all the arguments get started. So pretty much once somebody decides to use AI in their organization and they find out that AI is not what they expected it to be, that's when the relationship actually comes into the forefront. Until then, it's that honeymoon phase.
Man, that's deep relationship advice, Praveen. I thought this was a conversation on AI. Come on,
Yeah,
Supriya.
yeah. No, this is no deep relationship and all. This is basically what is happening. Everybody like oh, I've got. In fact, I had a client who's like, whatever you're saying doesn't make any sense. I'm going to use ChatGPT and Cloud and then verify what you're saying. And he had a limited budget of such. So he came back with me to like the 12-page reporter that ChatGPT gave him, and I was definitely not in the mindset to read all those 12 pages. So I asked him to, okay, you summarize whatever the 12 page because you would have anyway read it. So he listed down 5 points, and then I said, why don't you ask that ChatGPT what is the budget that you should be spending? And it gave like some six figure. And he was like, why is it giving me so much? I don't have that much of money to spend. I said, that is what you basically you put your aspirations and then it basically matched your aspiration. But the reality is completely different.
You know,
But we had a
and
point of view.
yeah, I have a. I mean, my point of view is nowhere near as impassioned as you know the journey from romance to marriage to I don't know where it's going to go from there. But uh, look, I think what will not work is a master slave paradigm. Okay, um, what and this is just personally. I learned in a class that if you treat AI as a brilliant junior or a brilliant intern, you will get the best possible um, set of interaction scenarios that you could hope for. And that really stuck with me for a couple of reasons. One is because for me personally, doing the grunt work, the heavy lifting, it can be sort of soul crushing at times, right? Because I want to focus on I want to focus on okay, what's the thing we're going to do with this? So the crunch part of it has always been for me something that requires me to okay. It's like doing leg day in the gym, grunt work for me. So and I've always enjoyed working with interns, working with project teams because you distribute the workload and then things get done and then you start to build based on that. So that paradigm really resonated with me, and that's how I've tried to um, train the assistants that I use as part of my personal assistant, how should I put it, pool from an AI standpoint. And I think that's been remarkably helpful because, to Praveen's point, you've got unlimited access to information. That information can either be super useful or super useless, depending on how well you engage with the interface. And I think that's where I've spent the maximum amount of time learning myself in terms of how do I best make this work? How do I frame the questions? What does economy of words feel like? What is the kind of output that I want to see? In what form does output resonate with me, knowing how I like to consume information? So there is so much of work that goes into setting yourself up so that your AI assistant is delivering. But like real life scenario this morning, I called my boss out of excitement just to tell him that after 8 months of training this assistant, it has given me a contextual summary based on what I wanted. And I was like, you know, this is not something that happened accidentally. It happened this morning. However, it's the culmination of a lot of work in a massive investment made into arguably a relationship. But the thing is that the contextual response I got today, I know it's going to be exceptionally useful for me as as the days go by in whatever projects that I have lined up. And I think that's the investment, because you've been in the industry, so you've heard of ego, garbage in, garbage out. And it's true of AI as well. If your prompts are flat, if your prompts are long-winded, if your prompts don't go anywhere, the output you're getting is suboptimal. And you own that. It's not AI's fault. You own that, because your conversational style with your assistant needs to be something that works, and it needs to be geared to the kind of output you want. So I've always looked at data. I'm not a data scientist, I'm not a data engineer, but I like to say that, or I like to think that I can understand what it's trying to say, right? So in my mind, when I look at an AI interaction, it's about actionable insights. My big grouse with data scientists, not data, with data visualizers today, is that many dashboards will require a PhD in stats just to interact with it. So, but how much of actionable insight can I take to go away and make a decision that makes a difference? Now, similar concept, not in a graphical interface so much, but can I get information that allows me to take a decision, that allows me to make a change, that allows me to pivot? That sort of information requires investment in your assistant, in your intern, in your junior, call it what you want.
So, where Praveen talked about a marriage, I'm hearing you talk about like a thinking sparring partner, right? Who kind of evokes thought.
Yep.
However, one of the conversations that keeps coming up is, am I being lazy by using AI? Or am I an imposter who's cheating by using AI? And these are very live thoughts with everybody.
Praveen, you want to go first? Because this is where I'll get impassioned. So why don't you go first?
So I'm a lazy marketer, so Amar knows me very well. So I always try to find a shortcut. I don't want to work 8 hours, 6 hours. I try to find solutions which I can implement in like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then I just want to spend the rest of my day doing nothing. Simple as that. So AI is probably helping me do other things. Like my son plays football. 2 years ago, if I had a call, I couldn't go. Now, wherever he plays football, I'm there because something else is doing my job, or I have used something to finish off my job as quickly as possible. And I'm not being lazy, I'm just being productive. I've just, instead of going through tons and tons of data manually and then trying to figure out some sense into it, I can feed all of this to one of the LLMs and I can tell it what I want, and I can give it the additional data, context, and everything else. And then less than 15 minutes, 20 minutes probably, I have some sort of a data, some sort of an answer. And it's my responsibility to look through that answer and then figure out if it's making sense or not. Most of the times, what people do is they ask some question, they feed in some information, and blindly copy paste it. That's the lazy thing to do. But if you actually sit down, sift through that information and probe it further and ask it more questions as to why it is said what it said and all of that, then it's just making your job extremely productive and you're just making the best use of your time. Imposter would definitely be there. There are a lot of people when COVID hit, when the lockdown happened in India. I know HRs and doctors and people working as some assistants of something became like April 1st, everybody became digital marketing expert, social media expert, life coaches. When I know that they are actually on
They
the
don't have
verge
a
of,
life.
they don't have a life and they are on the verge of a divorce. And
Yeah.
they're like relationship coach and all of it. I was like shocked. You don't even know anything pertaining to what you're saying, but then that's, and just because lockdown happened and they just wanted to do something. I see the same shift happening when AI came in. All of a sudden, if you see everybody's LinkedIn, they're like writing Shakespeare English, and these guys cannot even put two words together and speak to you properly.
Yeah.
And like, and
Yeah.
suddenly you have like pages after pages of information, nice graphics and all of it, and I'm like wondering. Initially, I was wondering where did this transformation happen? And then as you start reading, you find those little
And
clues as
M
tells where
dash.
it is coming.
M dash.
M dash. In fact, I had a client who gave me a document which said the original prompt itself. And for the minute, I thought this guy was writing everything properly, and then I realized that he's using ChatGPT to answer my questions. So it depends on who you look at it. That's where the major difference going to happen, because the ones who want to be the so-called experts and imposters, they will always be that. And the markets will become people will become extremely intelligent to identify such people. And there are those people who will use this to a better use. So that's just like anything else, you just need, not everybody is a Tendulkar. Not everybody cannot be Ronaldo. All you need is to have a conversation with them to find out if they are one.
Don't be so good
I
with it.
guess this is what doctors faced when Google first appeared, right? Everybody knew
Yeah.
what their headache was
Dr.
about.
Google MD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amar, you were going to say something about this conversation.
Yeah. So, tangentially, in my experience of working with people, working with teams, I've always found that lazy people are the most creative, right? You want to have at least one lazy person on your inner team, because that person is guaranteed to find the most elegant, the most efficient way to get something done. Why? Because that person wants to go ride his bike, her bike. That person wants to go and sleep. That person wants to cut out early and go for a movie. And to me, that's fine, because what that person has given you is a truly elegant solution to what might be a very laborious, you know, process. Is going to take you a lot of time. So I don't think. See, there is being lazy and there is shirking work. For me personally, I don't. I love to do a lot of things. So shirking work is a no-no. But what AI does is it makes you super productive. It makes you so productive that you're able to spend more time on things that you should be spending time on, right? You can spend more time with your people. And for me, as a people person, that's so important, because the time spent in the office is talking to people. So it's not sitting and saying, okay, I need to figure this spreadsheet out, or I need to make sense of this, or these numbers are not adding up, or I need to do this research. All of that, one for the assistants can handle. So what you do then is take the information, and then you process that, and then you take that to your team and say, okay, here's 2 or 3 points of view, and let's figure this out based on this. So the kind of productivity lift that you get is huge, and it also frees up space to, frankly, to think. And as anyone grows in their career, once you start to become responsible for people and P&L and strategic objectives, growth, whatever it is, the amount of headspace that requires is massive, and you cannot in any way, shape, or form focus on any of that if you've got grunt work to do. And that's the big win for me. So does that make me an imposter? Heck no. That makes me extremely effective. That makes me much, much better. If I'm wearing my marketing hat, that makes me a really good marketer. If I'm wearing a couple of the other hats that I wear, it makes me really good on the customer experience side. It makes me a better, it makes me a better people person. It just makes me more effective. So to me, individually, it makes me much more productive. It also ensures that I stay sane because I'm not spinning my wheels, wasting time on stuff that I can't control. Let something else do that, and I will focus on the stuff that makes me happy. So no, I don't think imposter doesn't count.
So, as a business head, right, that makes complete sense. Now, let's flip it and go to creative, right? Because original art now is either going to get more valuable or is going to lose value. What happens with creativity? And this is now a debate. Like, there's a lot of creative people who are like, AI, sneering at AI, right?
Yeah, and rightly so. However, what they're sneering it at is not AI. What they're sneering at is charlatans using AI and pretending to be creative. Now, there are two very different things. You take somebody who wouldn't know design if it kicked them in the teeth and give them mid journey and they'll produce something. Anyone with, well, any discerning individual, I'm conscious that Anita will probably whack me on the head if I say anything else. Any discerning individual will know. So once again, what the creatives are sneering at is lazy design. What they're sneering at is is trumped up, you know, buffoonery aided by AI. So there is no question. This afternoon, my head of content, she put up a brilliant post on LinkedIn. So this is a shout out to Susanna, and she nailed it. And I completely agree with her because the art of storytelling, AI can assist you. AI can do your research, but the fact is that people buy from people. People listen to people. People talk to people. People want art delivered by people. Why do you think the NFT craze died? Right? Because it doesn't have enduring value. Art has enduring value. Art can be digital art, but it has to come from the mind and the soul of a creator. Copy, words. Words are powerful. They have a soul. And you can tell. Anyone who's discerning can tell. Look, the cons are going on right now, right? Next week, if I'm not mistaken. You guys have won Cannes Award. So you know when you look at something, you know where it's come from. It's a product of soul. AI can assist that. AI can't take away that. So once again, I work with. I'm far from creative, but I rub shoulders with giants, and I know that they're not sneering at AI. They are sneering at people who pretend, and I think those are the imposters.
So, and I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to come back to this relationship, right, with AI. We have a client who said that there are about 30% of people who should be using it in their organization, but there's less than 10%, right, who actually adopted it and using it properly. So it's a slow process. While everybody said it's taking our jobs right now, everybody's fired people. It's a slow process of us learning to build that relationship, which is not based on fear, from what you said, and is based on some sort of a partnership where you are in charge of context to make you more productive. So, Praveen, I'm going to come back to you and then Amar to say, what do we need to keep in mind to help us change that relationship, right? What would you?
I would probably say just keep an open mind because most of the times the adoption is not happening because a lot of people are resisting change and they're scared that the AI is going to take their job. It's just pretty much similar to what you see in government organizations. You have these 10 people just typing on the keyboard with just one finger when you know that somebody who knows computer can do it much faster. But then it's just that it's not like these guys don't want to learn. It's just that they're scared that they will be replaced by a better system. So they're trying to kind of prolong the agony as long as it can. And it's just a matter of time before the leadership wakes up and then turns on something which will just kind of move them away. But that's the unfortunate thing, because if the people learn and adopt AI, it's going to open up a lot of avenues for them. There, we live in a country which has got 1 billion people, and most of the traditional businesses are not even using technology of any sorts. And there is a wide opportunity for people who understand how all of these works to kind of impart the knowledge and probably get them to come on board. But the sad part is they're just stuck. They're just stuck in old ways, and they feel that they are far more important than the system. And it's just a matter of, I would probably say, weeks or months before the system kind of steamrolls in. It's just like what you see in the movie Matrix. So it's just a matter of time before the missions take over. But until then, so we've got like what, 3 years, 2039. That's when Terminator said the missions will take over.
Gosh, Praveen, you're a voice of doom here.
13 years, 13 years, man, 13 years.
No,
Don't
no,
say
2029.
29, oh, then 3 years, yeah.
3 years, yeah. No, it's not a doom. It's just that, like, at some point in time, no organization is going to sit back and then say, look, let the employees do it slowly. We don't want to accelerate and all of it. Every organization wants to make money. Every organization wants to grow. And if they feel the people inside the organization are the stumbling block, they will simply replace them. And it is in their benefit that these people learn how to use it, because even if they lose their job, the next job is going to ask them, do you know AI? And they cannot say, I don't know, I'm good at Excel, I'm good at PowerPoint and all of that. Claude can do all of it. But they need somebody to use Claude. They need somebody to prompt Claude to do the things that they want. And that's where the resistance is.
Amar?
Hey, I'm going to seek your indulgence to allow me to meander just a bit, but I hope it makes sense at the end of it. You're a coach. So when you're working with a coachee and you're helping them adjust to change, as a coach, one of the biggest, most common objectives that you have to deal with is change management, embracing change, adoption, all of that. And I'm willing to bet that one of the things that you teach them is let go and trust the process, right? In this case, it's let go and define the process, right? So there is something scary, but at the same time deeply comforting and liberating in that process. So why I say that is because, to Praveen's point, keep an open mind. Okay, and I don't know who it was, but I think it was someone I respect a lot, Jasprit Bindra. I don't know whether he was quoting someone or he said it himself. I remember him saying once that AI is not going to take someone's job, but somebody using AI will. And I think that is the call to arms. For a leader, for an individual, that's the call to arms. If AI makes you better at your job, then if you're not using AI, to Praveen's point, your boss is going to find somebody who is. Now, what I will say though is that to me is not a doom and gloom scenario. That is opportunity, because that represents a way for you to invest in yourself, to improve, all without going back to school, right? So I have a personal goal that every year I do a course and learn something. This year, I'm really trying to find a course that is going to be different from what I'm doing, simply because I'm so excited with the various things I'm learning in this entire process of having a few assistants. And like we're talking before the ground, I'm trying to fire one of them just to say that I can, right? But the point is, I think let go and trust the process. It will make you much better at what you are. And it might also tell you that, hey, I'm in the wrong job. I could do something completely different. And I just like the lockdown produced content creators and life coaches and relationship coaches. Yeah, I think AI will actually produce a completely new series of revenue streams for individuals and for companies. And I couldn't be more excited personally. So if somebody were to ask me, what's your advice, right? And I would just say, let go, jump in with both feet, figure it out as you go along. It is not that bad.
So it's like somebody on our team said, right? It's not that AI is helping me do my job better, it's helping me recognize how much more my role could be, right? And I think that's, I like the word you said. It's comforting and it's liberating in both ways. And we could, if you go by what Praveen said, then spend 2 hours working and spend 6 hours doing something that we really enjoy, right?
Has he told you what his actual hobby is?
No, what is it, Praveen?
He climbs mountains. He's a trekker.
Ah,
Okay.
so you love to meet
So,
Anita, who's
so
part
exactly.
of
So,
Sana.
so uh, uh, his core philosophy in life is, I will be so efficient. Hey, Praveen, sorry, I'm stealing your thunder, okay? Because I mean, this is me living vicariously through you, okay? So, guy finishes his work in advance and then he goes away to climb a mountain. So, I need something. Where are you? Hey, I'm in Kathmandu. I'll call you later. Like, oh.
Well, if that doesn't inspire people to master AI now, I don't know what will. Okay. Thank you very much, both of you. Amar, Praveen, nice chatting like this. Like we realized yesterday also, we could keep chatting. I'm going to open it up. I think there are I can see some comments in the chats, which I didn't realize. No. Is there anything? Okay. Fred, do we have any comments in the chat? Yes. What human skills become even more important in an AI enabled world? Can I still hold on to my value of simplicity?
I mean, heck yes. Because AI doesn't change your value system.
AI
Okay.
actually helps you find more values.
It helps you find more value and unlock more value that you didn't think you had. Exactly, Praveen. But what human skills? Communication, right? Uh, for somebody who loves words and loves stories, I think a really good grasp of language and economy of words. These are skills that help you use AI more effectively, because I think the greatest the biggest reason why AI has democratized learning so effectively is it's allowed you to ask questions in your own language. And they call it NLP, natural language programming. It sounds it sounds very very prosaic, but it's hugely empowering. So yeah, what skills? Indo, work
That's,
on language.
it's interesting that you say that because we introduce leaders to a communication tool, right? And a communication framework. And we are now internally using that with AI.
Yeah.
So we use the same communication framework that we would do for before we did a presentation, feed it here and say, okay, now let's answer these questions one by one, right? So yeah, nice.
So Praveen, you want to go first?
No, I'm still thinking the thoughtfulness. No, actually, no, the thing is, AI is not actually making you faster. It's actually making you think about the choices that you have. So, um, while AI can do everything at speed, the amount of information that you actually take from the AI and then you process it is going to matter. It's not like you just give in 1 second, you have an answer, and then you just do it. Whatever AI gives you, you need to think through for multiple shoes, multiple ads, like Hammer said. One is from your perspective, one is from your employee perspective, from a client perspective, and then think as to whether it makes sense. I've had conversations with people who just kind of blurt out something, and I know it's not them that they are saying it. But you really need to think through certain things that AI tells you, because AI is very good at making you believe that's the right answer, and it hallucinates a lot. So if you don't put your brain to work, you will basically believe whatever it says. And that's where the major challenge is going to be, because often we see that on Twitter, we see it on other places. Somebody puts a AI story up with all nonsense, and then there's an old generation of people who believe it, and then they do all sorts of funny stuff.
They will celebrate it, they will nurture it, they will all the emojis, right?
Yeah, everything comes in, and that's the challenge.
And it's interesting when you say that how so AI does become very human to you, right? We've all it's like in the old days, guys had a call their bike sheep, right? So we all have a gender for our AI.
What do you mean old days? Yeah?
You see the gray hair on your head.
See,
This is wisdom.
Anyway, so I feel
Wisdom.
like many times I find myself telling ChatGPT, stop talking, just stop talking, right? Till we're finished feeding you stuff. So there's a lot of, like you said, garbage out that comes. But yeah.
I think Balkis has asked a question that's Balkis, I'm going to give you the credit of being, I'm going to say it's intentionally deeper than it appears. Okay. And that's at the heart of not asked as such, but talk about creativity and AI, right? And that entire situation where creatives are sneering at the use of AI. I think just like we talk about, don't confuse activity with productivity. Okay. Similarly, AI, while it can equip you, it also leaves you terribly exposed. And AI can expose you as a charlatan, that's one of my favorite words for the day. It can expose you as a pretender in 20 seconds flat. If you've not done your work, if you have not put in the hard yards in terms of preparing, and you just do 3 prompts and you think you've got time, you present that, that is speed, but then that also is lazy, irresponsible use of AI. And anyone discerning, anyone who's using their brain will see through it. So, like I said, AI can be empowering. It can be and enhance your productivity tremendously. It can also leave you very exposed if you think you're fooling anyone. You're not, and that distinction arguably is more clear with the use of AI than it is any other way.
You just have to come into my world, and you see all these reports and data points and all sorts of stuff, and all it probably takes about 20 seconds is probably a longer time. 5 seconds, the minute you read the opening line itself, you know somebody has not done it. Something has done it for them, and it's just a shoddy piece of work. And the data is not very strong enough. I think that's where probably the next question is about prompting AI and collaborating with AI also comes in, because a lot of people are very good at prompting, and they're just basically getting data from AI. They're not feeding it their data, and that's where the real magic happens, because when AI knows about you or about the project that you're working in, and it can actually give you a lot more insightful data, information, and reports and all of it. But people, as I said, people don't do that. They just go to ChatGPT and say, my client is asking ABC, and then tell me how can I do it. It's just going to give you a generic answer, which anybody can do it. The client themselves can do it. That's just basically, as Amar said, that's just basically lazy prompting. We don't want that. We want to build a relationship with AI where you give the context to the LLM and tell them the background. So it's just like your probably our Indian movies. Even before we get to see the hero, we get to see all of his family members, his exes, and his all future lovers and everybody, and then we get to see the hero.
His grandma,
That's yeah.
Who met at the pawn shop, all those guys. They're all there.
All of that. So we need that context because then only we will understand the tough life that the hero is at. So very similarly, you need to give all of these context. It might seem irrelevant to us, but to AI, those are all information, these are all nuggets, and it'll build on it. Once it understands all of this, that's when it'll actually give you something meaningful, and that's where you're collaborating with AI to get the best out of it.
One more.
Or a graphic designer can. Is there something more than that?
The question is, okay, wait, I'll read.
No. What I see is okay. So we're going to talk about graphic design, sure. So what the platforms have done is truly charge up or truly turbocharge their core tools like Photoshop, InDesign. So it gives a good designer many more options. It gives an average designer a chance to become above average. So more than anything else, will they lose jobs? No, because it still requires someone with a sense of balance and color and, let's say you're doing a box, structural design, to be able to put in the framework within which the tool can give you output in terms of what you require. So once again, let me not try and say that it's all poppies in a meadow. There will be those who cannot adapt or who will be exposed. The Peter principle disappears with AI, Supriya, because the fact that you've reached your maximum level of incompetence cannot be hidden anymore. Okay, it ceases to work. So yes, there will be those that will have to seriously think about what their options are. But if you're good at your job, if you're willing to learn, if you really want to push the envelope, then you have a virtually unlimited buffet of tools for you to choose from. To potentially, even from a graphic designer, you could potentially become a visualizer if you have part of it within you, but you've never really been able to either be trained in it or work towards it. You can be a much better version of yourself with some of the tools that are available. So, like I said, there will be those that fall by the wayside. Let's not kid ourselves. However, this is an area in which it's not all doom and gloom.
And just to add, there's the power is the choice is always with them. It's like what we've seen that sleeping giant. A lot of people say, "Don't wake the sleeping giant inside of me," and then they will put a sleeping lion and then say, "My giant thing is sleeping," and all of that. It's very similar to that. A lot of people don't want to actually upskill themselves. Once they get into a job, they just like, "Oh, I've got a job, so I don't have to do anything." Those who think like that will definitely lose their jobs. In the short term, yes, you will probably see a lot of people losing, but then the opportunity lies in especially when the companies are finding that they don't know how to work out. They don't have the time because now that they've got something massive helping them, they will have their hands on multiple things, and when they have their hands on multiple things, they would not have the time to actually do all of these, and they would need somebody who's good at, as Manoj said, sorry, Amar said, they good at all of these design.
That's the greatest compliment you could pay me, man.
Yeah. So it'll kind of be there, but the underlying thing is we need to learn, we need to upskill, we need to be doing things where we are constantly upskilling ourselves. And sadly, when they don't do it, they lose the jobs.
I think what we're ending with is saying, let's change our relationship with AI. It's not something to be scared of, right? It's something to partner with. It is something that if you approach it with a lot of curiosity, can provoke thought, and actually get you to be a better version of yourself, doing more of what you want to do, and enjoying it, right? And changing what could be a boring job to something more interesting, while it helps you to kind of evolve and grow. So it's not something that's going to stunt us unless you use it without a brain.
It's not infatuation, it's a serious relationship.
Yeah, let's talk about relationship.
Wait,
Okay.
let's end
So
this recording and do that.
what Praveen is saying is go on a first date. And
Yeah.
then, one thing at a time.
Okay, on that happy note, thank you very much. Thank you, Praveen. Thanks, Amar. We shall call it a day here.